All right. Hey, everybody. It's the TED Show. We're going to give this another whirl. I am amazed at the technology sometimes up here on the 18th floor. I am with my friend, longtime friend, Jason Perez. Hey, Jason.
What's up, guys?
This is episode 63 of the TED Show. All right, Matt Tucciarelli's on, so that means we have a live video.
Oh, what's up, Matt?
What's up, Matty? And we had a little bit of technical difficulty for a minute. It said it wasn't going live. So let us know that you can hear us. I had to unmic. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff technology-wise.
And we ran a cord from next door, so we should be stealing internet nicely.
Totally stole internet. All right, some people are on here. Let us know you can hear us. Hey, Joe Toma, happy Friday. So happy Friday, everybody. November 17th, the Friday before Thanksgiving. I'm pretty stoked for next week. But I haven't seen Jason. Well, you came to my birthday.
Yes, wouldn't miss it.
But you moved back. So I think a lot of people, even like Tara Merritt said today, I didn't know he was back. I didn't know you moved back. So give them a little history on you, and we'll talk about the move, and we have so much stuff to really talk about. Hey, Eileen, you like my jacket? Thank you. I know.
You gotta check out the shirt.
Yeah, the shirt's good. I've cut my head out a little bit. Instead, you see the door behind me. It's kind of like a hotel door. But tell them a little bit about you, because I don't know who knows you and who doesn't.
Well,
I think a lot of people think they know you, kind of like, in general.
No, that's the illusion.
That's the illusion.
That's the...
It's all about the illusion.
Yeah, come on, there's two games here. You have your circle of friends, and then you have this extended network that, it just comes bumping into you every once in a while.
It does.
I guess I'm
smashes into me.
I'm the tale of two networks. So hopefully we get more positive people in this thing.
We've got some good people now. I love it.
Yeah, the California thing was just spur of the moment. It was...
tell people, because you were here forever, and then you picked up and left to go to one of my favorite parts of California, which is Orange County, Laguna, which is beautiful out there, for business. And then all of a sudden in theory, right. But all of a sudden I got a message like, we're coming back.
Yeah, well, we left abruptly to California. It was just one of those things. We've been there forever, and... we were looking for somewhere to go. I spent the year in Brantley. Kelly, my wife, for practical purposes.
We love Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
So beautiful. She's awesome.
But we lived on Lake Brantley. We had been there for about 7 years on the lake there, and we had just been in the same area. And when it got down to it, we wanted to go somewhere different. We looked at Windermere. We looked at South Florida, and somebody wanted me to go to a convention in Arizona. So 10 days before the convention, we decided, hey, well, if I got to go to Arizona, why don't we just sell everything and go to Laguna Beach? And we did. So we were gone 10 days later. We sold 2 cars and paddle boards and kayaks. And
you sold it all. And you went out. Your beautiful bride is on.
She is?
Yeah, Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
I didn't know you knew how to get on Facebook.
She knows. She sometimes watches. I don't call her out like today I had to call her out. But she sometimes watches quietly.
Nice.
Hopefully with a cocktail. We have a cocktail today. We have Bogart's Bliss today.
Yes.
Because it's Friday. Cheers.
That's how you do it.
All right. So, but you're
coming back was just as abrupt.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
So
I didn't expect it.
Yeah. So we were out there for 3 years, and we were doing some consulting with a national law firm, and we tried to do some things, but then I realized I really didn't like lawyers. So,
you're not going to get any argument even from lawyers that are watching.
Sorry, Skinner, you're my boy, though.
We love Skinner.
I love Skinner.
We love Skinner.
But yeah, so we were over in Salt Creek, and we had a beautiful spot. We were overlooking the golf course to the St. Regis, and we just wanted something different. So we thought about going further up the coast to Redondo Beach or something like that. And Danger goes, well, why don't we just go back to Florida? And we're like, okay.
I love
and
that.
we were gone.
Danger's their son. They have a daughter, Forrest, and they have a son, Danger, and he's awesome. Yeah. Well, they're both awesome. Love that name.
It's my wing dude.
That's your wing dude?
Yeah, we came back, and we didn't really want to be back in Orlando, and so we decided to go Smyrna Matata and move to New Smyrna Beach.
Smyrna Matata.
Yeah, so that's
the beach life, but you've always liked beach life. That's your vibe.
Yeah, I'm ambitiously lazy. I'll love the grind for as long as I can, but at the end of the day, I like my vacation time.
Well, you do grind, and I think that's one of the things. So Jason and I met here at the club. It was a really cool. He tells the story better, but basically, I'll let you tell the story because it's a good story because that's what happens organically a lot if you're open to it. So let's talk about that.
Well, the club was interesting because I actually had no intentions on networking. we had season tickets to the Magic when they moved from, because we went to the finals when they were at the old arena.
Right.
And so I was checking it out. We had season tickets here, and parking was at 55 West, which is right across the street. And they wanted you to pay $20 for parking. Mm-hmm. Well, at the time I was under 40, so I qualified as a young entrepreneur at the Citrus Club, and realized that it was cheaper for me to get a business club membership at the Citrus Club than pay for parking. So that's true. Actually,
that's probably still true.
That's how I became a member of the Citrus Club. So I'm here, and our friend Jimmy and I, we constantly.
Hi. You're live on TV. Are you going to come in? Or are you to do that to people?
But yeah. So after a little while, we're sitting there, and like right now, we're at this big table. And if anybody who just kind of knows Ted, it's the unofficial mayor of Orlando. Okay, this guy knows absolutely everybody. And so I'm sitting there, I've got my laptop open, I'm doing some work, I'm now in this club that makes me dress up to come in. And
that's considered closed-toed shoes.
Closed-toed shoes and a collar.
And a collar.
How many times I get in trouble for not having either one of those?
I know.
So I'm sitting there, and after about 2 weeks, everybody who walks into the club comes by and says hello to this guy.
I did not pay him to say this.
So finally, I just got up and walked over and said, "Hey, I'm Jason Perez. I want to know why everyone comes into this club and says hello to you."
It was pretty much exactly like that. There was just that, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I like you." Anybody who's that ballsy and wants to come over and say, "Hey, bring it."
Yeah, I wanted to know why, and now it's like, I've got this whole, I got all these Jasonisms, but in the middle of my Jasonisms, I have this "What Would Teddy Do" file.
WWTD. That's going to be the new hashtag.
This is my social Ted-I warrior.
Oh, the Ted-I warrior. That's also good. I'd forgotten about that. Hey, Jen. So we met, and then we clicked. I thought it was a great click. I'm incredibly open to engaging with new people, and I figured, God, if he's going to come over and say hi and talk, let's figure out how to work together. But it takes a while sometimes, and maybe that's changed, but it takes a while to understand, or did, what you do. Back in the day, I mean, it probably, and I'm sure you wanted to kill me many times because I had to have you write it out and explain it like 400 times. But you helped me,
though, because before that, so originally I was this madman to just, I mean, I don't really know how to say it any other way. It's like,
I'll go with that. I like it.
But, so, I started out marketing. I started out telemarketing, which means that, I'm one call, one close. If you ever seen Boiler Room, that's kind of like my DNA.
Right. You had phone rooms.
Yes.
And that's how you that's how you cut your teeth.
Yes. Well, that was my first, I've never really had a real job. I'm like this serial entrepreneur, so.
We like serial entrepreneurs on here, though. It's so important. I think many more people are embracing that than they used to.
Well, and I think they should, because it was funny the other day. So, yes, my son's his middle name is Danger. So it's not his first name. I'm not trying to definitely get him on the no-fly list. But,
right.
So I'm constantly teaching them that the reason you're studying, the reason you're doing these things is so that way you can make your own decisions. And not too, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I always talk about the employees as those people.
Those people.
I'm sorry.
Hashtag.
I'm sorry. What is that? Does that count as diet racism or something?
No, that's good though. No, because you've not been like that. You don't know how to think like that.
Right. So I'm constantly telling him that this is why you do it. This is what's going on. And then I told him that Mom used to have a job, and she goes, she was one of them?
Oh, she was one.
And I swear.
Kelly, that's an awesome story. Well, because you've trained him up, or you've educated him so that he doesn't think like that. We're not saying there's anything wrong with that. I always say there has to be worker bees. There has to be people that do certain things. But so many people have this entrepreneurial spirit. So why not engage them young, like you've done with Danger?
Well, so he's my perfect wingman, because, dude, if I can't get along with my little guy, then it's got to be me.
Right.
So that being the case, if I'm enjoying the brainwashing. It's like it helps me with sales. It's like
Andrea Williams just got on and said,
"Oh, what's up? How you doing?"
He might have asked me how you were doing today.
I did. You're like, you went Bigfoot on us.
You did. You totally did. I haven't seen her on the show. You can quietly watch the show, but I love it when people pop on the show and actually comment. So
yeah.
So
this is actually, so I kind of consider this really like my my business coming out party because I've been gone for so long. Like
I love it. No, it's like his debutante ball.
Yeah, my debutante ball.
Back.
Yeah.
He's back, man.
That's
He's
right.
back. But I
actually never left, but
you really didn't, because you kept relationships here and you have a business here, which we should talk about. Yeah, but you kept all of that here in theory, exactly. But you kept all of that. You kept your relationships. You kept your hands at least as much in Central Florida as you possibly could. You have family here, all your family except Forrest. Where's Forrest?
She's in Tallahassee, actually, and Kelly's leaving in a little bit to drive out to go see her and. So.
Oh, there's Stephanie's on.
Hey, what's up, sissy?
She calls you JJ.
Yeah, well, her and Grandma are about the only two that can get away with that.
I have not heard that one before, Stephanie.
Good looking out, Steph.
We were actually talking about you, how amazing you are, and you should definitely friend her. We love you too, Kel. Because your life is amazing. I'd love to have you on the show. I wish you could bring the goats.
You know, she's my little sister. So you got a dog on your little sister, right?
Just a little.
But holy crap, is she like such a great vacation for me? So I get back, and now she has we're from Brooklyn.
I know. Right? You're from like Park Slope, right, or somewhere.
Yeah, I mean we're like true Brooklyn, and my sister just goes country on us.
She goes beyond country. It's not just moving out to, I don't know, nothing against Avalon, but East Orlando. She has goats. That's what I always love. Or the goats, or the cows, or the something.
She's got more heartbeats than. But yes, we got these. I say we. Look at it, Steph. I'm claiming your we. So she has these goats, and she has cows, and what's great about it. So they got 3 cows. Of course, you get cows, so you can have like fresh beef and things like that. They all have names, and only 2 of the 3 are getting eaten. There's the potbelly pigs. And so we go over there.
I love to watch. Stephanie, you have one of the best. No, we're not dissing East Orlando, Eileen. I said no. I love it. I used to live in Eastwood.
No, she's got it.
But she's not. It's not there. That's pre-country out in Avalon. Stephanie's in real country.
Dude, it's awesome.
She's got a fence and everything, like one of those fences you would see.
Fence, like it's the animals. Like,
I know.
It's just
she's got
whatever.
so many
and
animals.
we're not talking about little Mikey, okay? We're talking about the real animals.
Oh, Mikey's your nephew. Right? Yeah, I love that.
But no, it's really good, and what's funny is that so today, coming back in, you mentioned that I seem so much more relaxed, right?
You actually do. So anybody who knew you before you left,
they know me as a terrorist. They really do.
Yeah, well, you used to refer to yourself as a terrorist, but that's because we talked about this earlier. In your consulting, the way that you worked with people, you tended to.
I was brought in when there was problems.
And so you had to get into your mode of being the problem solver, which can be intimidating for most people.
Yeah,
and I never looked at you like that because you didn't mean it. I don't think all you were doing is trying to solve a problem. And we were talking earlier about a particular group of people who probably need some guerrilla consulting because what they're doing is not impactful, effective, or professional on some level.
And they do such good work.
Right.
So it's like if you're going to go into the consulting aspect of it, and why are we all getting so upset when we realize what we do wrong? Like, are you kidding me?
That's the thing. I think people don't want to, they want you to tell them what they want to hear. They really don't want you to tell them what the true problem is. And if you deliver it wrong, we talked about this, if you deliver it wrong, then people tend to shy away from it and they retract instead of understanding the whole reason you're there. They brought you in for your intelligence and for your opinion and your expertise. And I think that's where I was
cut man.
You are. Well, you can be cut man.
Do you remember the one time we did that? We did a presentation here in the Citrus Club.
Did we?
Yes.
Oh,
we
yes,
did.
we did.
And
yeah,
so
we did.
Somebody came in, and so Ted was the front man on the whole deal. And I ran the meeting. And if you recall, when we got done, someone said, "Oh, I bet next he's going to tell us he's the Messiah." And he was wearing a WWJD bracelet. And I said, "As a matter of fact, what would Jason do? Are you taking notes?" You remember that?
I do.
That was almost like a. That was like a.
How many years ago was that?
That was a long time ago. I might have peed a little bit at happy hour. That was funny.
Well, we probably. Yeah, I've never forgotten that. I loved it. All right, so talk a little bit about identity theft, because we could talk about consulting all day, but let's focus on identity theft for a little bit, because that's the topic, and I think with all of the Equifax breaches and everything going on. And I love the spin that you put on it, because a lot of people talk about your credit cards and all of that, and that's of course incredibly important. But you talk about the professional part, and that's new. And I think a lot of people who have professional licenses, who have businesses, really need to listen up, because that's something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about.
Well, so we should know that identity theft has been a problem for a very long time, because it's the number one complaint filed against on the FTC. But it's with all the data breaches and things. And to talk about business before we even get in there, so I went from marketing pirate and consultant to compliance officer, which is the funny aspect
I love
of
that.
it.
Well, that's because you know what not to do, so you're probably really good at that.
It's the rules of engagement. They never change regardless.
Right.
So you could be a pirate. It just means that you have more shortcuts, and if I'm more methodical, I win.
Correct.
So,
absolutely.
So with it, the reason identity theft became that soapbox and the mantra, so to speak, is because we don't realize that. So I'm insurance licensed. We own Central Florida Insurance School. We own CE Credit Solutions. We teach health, life, variable annuities pre-licensing. We do continued education for all lines. So in that, every once in a while, the state is going to go ahead and contact us and say, all right, well, these are the new law updates that you need to address.
Right.
So you start looking at this, and they want us to talk about the CFO. They want us to talk about the Department of Financial Services. And when you start looking at the resources they're pushing out to the consumer, they're all identity theft based.
I mean, it's just it's a massive problem.
Yes.
An issue.
So when you take that and you dive into the law aspect, and many people may not realize this, but Ted is an authorized instructor. I don't do the
I don't talk
class.
about it much.
Ted teaches the class.
Well, you were gone for a little while.
Yeah, well,
I love it. We're
don't
back,
call
though.
it a comeback.
No, we're back. We're back.
So
I have students that I taught that are friends of mine on Facebook still.
Do we have their CE yet?
I don't know, but if you don't have your CE, you need to reach out to me. Reach out to me, and I'll get you in touch, and we'll all figure that out. But that's a huge thing. But I've made many friends and many business contacts by teaching those pre-licensing
I love the school.
courses.
I actually never realized. So I was mostly in sales and building the sales campaigns and stuff, and I didn't realize that what I actually liked about sales was building a team.
Right.
I didn't learn that until I left the business and came back, and the first thing I did was start kind of teaching and coaching. But when it comes back to the identity theft aspect of it, we've all had the debit card changed and the credit card changed and stuff, and what people don't realize is that every time that happens, that just happens to be what that thief
This is so important. We talked about this earlier, so listen up, guys, because this is so important. I did not know this, and it freaked me out when you said it, actually.
Well, so
you got the one. You've had your debit card compromised,
right. Well, that's only your information
one.
Is there.
Right.
All that means is that if I was a thief and let's just say I break into cars, right, and it's in front of your unlocked house, it doesn't mean that your house is safe. It just means the thief that visited your house to break into your car was only looking at your car to get out.
Correct.
That's what happened to your debit cards. That's what happened to your credit cards. Right. But what people don't understand is that, so I'm insurance licensed and you're mortgage licensed, you're everything licensed. If your identity was compromised, and let's just say it had something to do with financial, as licensees, we're obligated to be trustworthy. And if that debt starts climbing, you have numerous defaults and you're taking care of it, your profile looks like you have more of a more
and what
potential.
He's talking about on that is that it's the fraudulent things that are growing on your account, and people who haven't had to deal with it don't understand that there's only so much you can do in a short period of time, but your whole credit profile can change in an instant, and you can do everything you want to do, and there are still ways that these people can access it and really mess you up.
But everyone focuses on the credit profile. Me personally, I could care less, because as long as I have my livelihood and I can make my money, I can fix the problem. The problem is that if you're licensed, your credit profile can deem you untrustworthy.
That's true.
And you don't have to be arrested to get your license suspended, reviewed, revoked, or things like that. You just have to be deemed untrustworthy. Right. So if we all know that we've all received notices, and then now the Experian breach.
Not
Experian.
Equifax, right?
So with Equifax, the keys of the kingdom were just sold numerous times.
Yes.
If you're compromised on your driver's license, they tell you on the DMV website that you may need an attorney.
Again, this is so important too.
Well, if that happened to you and you were pulled over, or an identity thief was pulled over and used your information and required an appearance or whatever it may be, the fact of the matter is that whatever it was, if you're required to go to court, or it may be an infraction that needs to go in front of a judge, you're obligated to report it within 30 days. Not reporting it automatically suspends your license.
So how do people protect themselves? Because I think that's what a lot of people message me.
And that's
like,
why it's so easy, because what it is, it's a plan. Okay, if I'm going to drive to Jacksonville, I know that somewhere along the line, I'm going to pick up my coffee and Wawa and put it in one of those insulated cups. I'm going to be able to start drinking it 50 miles down the road, but I'm going to have to pee 50 miles after that, right? So have a plan. How are you getting there,
25
right?
if you're me.
I don't know where that analogy came from, but let's just go with it.
I like it. It's good.
But it's the plan. So you're hearing that Equifax is giving you LifeLock for free, right? The scaled down version of LifeLock?
Right.
What? That's putting out a forest fire with an eyedropper.
Correct. And they've gotten a whole bunch of horrible PR for that.
Well, because you're signing away your right to sue them.
Correct. And I don't think a lot of people know that.
No.
So remember, if you've had that Equifax breach,
a lot of people haven't even checked if they've been breached.
Thing. No, they haven't. Well, actually, I think you could pretty much put your name in.
You've been breached.
And you've been breached.
And if you weren't breached there, you're breached somewhere else.
And if you think you haven't been breached, you really need to take a look again.
So we were just talking with, for instance, we did the cybersecurity event the other day downtown, and Jerry Hutchinson?
Yeah, Jerry Hutchinson.
So he did an amazing job, but he's a cybersecurity specialist. And a step away from it, what he was explaining to everybody is that you can't buy a firewall and put a fancy gadget in to protect yourself from identity theft. And to verify that, I sent them over a copy of, it was Lexus of Vero Beach, had from inside their system, one of the employees selling consumer profiles for pain pills. So statistically, even
for some of my people on this thing, they might find that very fascinating. That's some good education either way.
Yeah, so it's not that I want to sell some blanket idea of identity theft. It's just that at this point, if you've gone through the trouble to have a professional license, if you have an insurance license and you're going to come to see a provider for your continued education and you're doing everything that you need to do, and you don't protect your identity and have something with restoration, when the breach happens, you have no proof that it wasn't you.
Right.
So at least if you were breached, and you have ID Shield. So I know because I sold it to you a long time ago, eons ago. Woo!
God knows, I need it.
But if your identity was breached, you're going to get a notice on it. Now, the moment that happens, regardless of what happened, you're able now to contact the Department of Financial Services and say, hey, I have been breached. I want to make sure you understand that I've been breached. This is the firm that's been hired to restore. And that's the most important thing. A lot of people I talk to, and it's funny because it's an insurance. I talk to most insurance agents, and they're like, "Oh, well, I have LifeLock." Well, LifeLock, and not to call anybody's baby ugly, and to promote actually a couple of different plans. You have Legal Shield, which has ID Shield, and then you have Dave Ramsey has a show, and he promotes an insurance company that does restoration as well. If you have an identity monitoring in place and it does not have restoration, you have nothing.
Right. So the restoration is it's like being notified without anybody doing anything if you don't have restoration.
Well, it's like having health insurance. If something was to happen, you immediately go to the doctors and you can immediately get care. And that's what this is.
But without the restoration, if you don't have that,
then you're left to your own.
Yeah, you can't. It's like having health insurance and you can't really go to the doctor.
And then you still have to hire an attorney. And then if you have a professional license, which is what I'd like to focus on, because those are the clients we service on a regular basis.
And that could be insurance agents,
real estate agents,
doctors. So anybody with a professional license, because you're right, that can come under attack and it can mess you up in ways that you haven't even thought of.
Imagine having to fight identity theft with no income.
Right, because most of us who have a professional license were some sort of commission-y, business-based income.
Yeah, so if your license is frozen and you continue to do business, it's a felony now.
That's not good.
So, the one thing that like, and we don't really have, everybody knows what identity theft is. I'm literally just begging you guys to do a second level analysis on this. I mean, if you have a business, your reputation's at stake. If you have a professional license, you could lose it. You know, could you get it back? Probably.
Sure.
But the fact of the matter is that if you don't have anything in place, the cheapest I've found for a restoration was an upfront $900, you know, and then
right.
you pay a la carte depending on what it is. And on average, that's going to get up there. It's going to get up there in the thousands. So
what does somebody do on the contact side for that? Do they, I should probably have researched this, but what about a website? Do they reach out to you? Do they reach out to, how do they reach you on that? Because that's obviously such an important topic. You talk about it a lot. You go to networking events, you do presentations, and I think that there are many, many more professional people who are on here who are either probably freaked out a little bit right now. Like
they should be freaked out. I'm freaked out. I have a plan in place, and I'm freaked out.
We've blown off, like even this Equifax breach.
It's not even.
I feel like we've blown it off. And you're right. There are people who think I haven't been breached. I'm going to tell you, I think everybody on the planet was breached.
Yeah.
So think about it. If you happen to be one of the people that the hackers
medical identity theft. Let's go beyond. All right. So you want to know the really scary part of identity theft is medical. Holy crap! If you start
talk about that, I don't.
So you're actually, I think it's just as likely to have somebody compromise your identity to get medical services in your name, so they don't have to pay it.
I didn't even know you could do that.
It's actually the easiest identity theft to do.
So what do? You get, is it what it is?
Well, maybe, but probably not. You know, let's just say it was a surgical procedure. You know I had my appendix taken out, and even with insurance and stuff, I think I had a $5,000 deductible at the time. So I could literally go in and get diagnosed and give somebody else's information, because if I go into the hospital under duress, are they going to force me to give the identity?
All right, so that's the part that I think that's fascinating to me. So you can do that. It has to be under duress, right? Because wouldn't somebody catch it?
Yeah, maybe.
You would hope, but that's scary.
They're cloning our cards. They're cloning our identity. So if they have your information, they probably have cloned your picture and image.
That's true.
But so under duress is like, let's just say that is the instance, you know?
Right.
More than likely, they already have
and
your profile.
And you may not catch it in time for you to notify the healthcare provider.
One of the examples, unfortunately, we put into the law and ethics class for health insurance outlined the fact that it was a car accident scenario, and somebody was rushed to the hospital because they were unconscious, and because they're and mind you, I'm not a doctor, but
we just play one on TV.
So when they went to do the pulse was really low, and their record said they were diabetic. And so they treated this person with insulin, and they killed them.
Oh my God, because
they weren't
diabetic.
No.
No way. Oh yeah, that's freaky. No,
yes.
I agree.
So when you look at that and you start looking at the statistics, and you realize that, okay, holy crap, I caught it.
You did, but that's all right. We haven't had a swear word yet on the tip show yet.
The first.
You could have been the first. It's all right.
So, but, you know, it's, if your debit card has been replaced, chances are the guy that needs your identity for a job or tax purposes or medical just hasn't had the opportunity to buy it yet to use it.
So give them, what's the first step they should do?
Well, the first step is that, I mean, you know, I don't think anyone should take anybody's word for it just on face, but rule number one is, if you're going to put an identity theft plan in place, make sure it has restoration. I probably talk to, on a weekly basis, 20 people a week that tell me, well, I have identity theft built into my credit cards. I didn't ask you about your credit card.
Right.
It's not identity theft. It's bank protection. And with the what's in your wallet, you know, the Capital One old school.
Yes.
Well, the fact of the matter is they've been required to give you identity theft protection on a credit card since '74. So they're not really doing anything. They're just advertising it.
Well, it's kind of like the people who say, I've got mortgage protection, or I have insurance on my house through the mortgage company, and honestly, you have no coverage whatsoever.
Bring Sesame Street to mind, the Namana.
So we're exactly. So we're gonna give because we're already at 33.
What?
See, it goes fast, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna give
the school information.
Let's give the school, but I want them to be able to, and we'll give it later, the information so that you can reach out to Jason and talk about identity theft. He didn't realize he was going to be all of a sudden reached out to by
Oh man, tell me that wasn't a little stressful. So getting on Facebook Live means I got to start adding people to my friend list.
But we also want to talk about Lolly's book.
Oh yes,
right? Because I want to give that out because we have so many real estate agents who are friends of ours and who watch the show. But this isn't just real estate.
Well, no, and so like I said, Ted and I, we've been friends for a long time, and so the thing I like about it is that I like the openness of the network. So anyway, one of my friends, Anthony Lolly, up in New York City, built Rapid Realty. Great. He's grassroots. You hear these stories, but we don't get anybody's story until they're already large.
Correct.
All right? This story is one that, and his book is Heart of the Deal in Amazon right now. So, and I don't get paid for promoting this. He's a friend of mine, and I've read, this month for instance, I've read Brendan Burchard, I've read a couple of other people, but to see somebody who just did it grassroots and reflect the rules of engagement and things along those lines, I loved it. And so what I did is I thought it was such an easy read, but not from a simple standpoint. I thought it was an easy read from what the broker, and he wrote it for the real estate broker, but I'm an insurance guy, and the rules applied. So if you don't mind, I wanted to give you my book because it had all my notes in it, and I know you're a real estate guy, and the fact of the matter is that this is a great way for somebody to come in.
Because it's not, this isn't just geared toward real estate people. It's just,
it's the rules of engagement.
Rules of engagement, which I love, and I think a lot of people need to, I think a lot of people could capitalize on that and benefit from it.
Yeah, I think so too. And he's promised me a copy with his signature in it. So I figured I'd give away my copy because I'm sure you'll add some stuff to it, and maybe you can give it away. And
I would totally share it because I think we have a lot of people, as you know, that are real estate agents because I've been in that business for so long. We will definitely promote that.
I just happen to believe in a network on it, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
That takes a lot. For you.
Well, I mean, he's done an incredible job. So when I look at what it is I want to do, he started out with a real estate school, and then built behind it. So I've done a lot of the similar things, but he was more social like you, and I'm more of,
I told you this earlier, but I'll tell Kelly since she's still on. I just feel like you are much like it's almost Zen. You're very Zen. I like that because that
it's 2 tears in a bucket, right?
There it is. All right, give them a parting words because we're at 30 plus minutes, which I can talk to you forever. And we'll give you all the URLs and we'll hashtag it, and I'll give you all the information on how to reach out to Jason and about the school and about the book. But give them some.
I'm going to bring it back to 4th grade. Okay?
4th grade.
I got a 4th grader. And the fact of the matter is, if we don't ask any questions, we don't get any answers. And, we are all professionals. We should know some of these things. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't know any of these things until I had to start reading state statutes, for the insurance school. And then you start looking at it. So just, if you have any questions, ask. Am I here to sell anything? Actually, no. I mean, I'm an insurance education provider. You're either in the industry or you're not.
Right.
And I know Kaplan you're not buddy-buddy with Kaplan, so I'm like the only option you guys have in Florida.
That's probably true.
But
totally true. And why wouldn't you want to take a class from me?
Yeah. The TED-I Warrior.
TED-I Warrior.
It's a Central Florida Insurance School. If you have any questions on how to implement a plan, I'd love to help. And Ted and I we ride shotgun for each other. So if you feel better reaching out to Ted, I want you to have the information that you need to protect your license.
We want you to engage regardless because I think on many levels, not just the consulting, but on the identity theft and the professional protection. Jason's got some amazing information and opportunities, and of course, if you're in the insurance world, then we have a lot of amazing opportunities for you as far as CE and learning and training your people.
Yeah. And we're marketplace advocates, so if you're here and you're in the network and you're not using the advocates you have and you're not using the resources you have, then when something does happen or you need that introduction or there's a hiccup, it just makes it harder to overcome. So don't be the 4th grader that hides your homework because you got a bad grade.
We want you to reach out. So before we end, what was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No, it was actually, so it's like we just moved tables.
That's all we did.
We
And
just moved
that's honestly, that's why starting at the table that I'm usually at, it's beneficial. It's just sometimes you can't get, it's loud. And so when there's, I would prefer to have people we can have a quiet conversation, even though you all are not quiet, which I appreciate. But it wasn't, it's just a conversation. That's what I would love to encourage you.
And do you think that a lot of your watchers understand the point of the show? Because
Probably not. I get asked all the time.
Well, I'm going to share because I've gotten this question, all right?
Gotcha.
It's network based. If you sit between you and I alone, there's other people with bigger networks, but in Florida, we could probably literally pick up and touch 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people personally to make an introduction.
I agree with that.
And so if you're chiming in and you're doing something, you see the network, I think everybody on your show agrees with that philosophy, and we need to be asking more of the network. And so what I'm hoping for is a parting word. I'd like to hear more questions. I'd like to be able to make more introductions, and I'd like to be able to help with the God forbid or what if moments if they do arise.
I love that. All right. It was awesome. Thank you.
Woo.
My Friday show. We love you guys. Next week is going to be sort of a surprise. So let's see how that goes. You guys this week has been absolutely amazing, as it is every week. Every week I say that, but I mean it. If I don't see you or talk to you, happy Thanksgiving. We will definitely have a show or two before Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful weekend. I have 2 sidebars coming up today. We have one with Riley Honahan, who is releasing a single called Broken, and it's about bullying. And then we have my friend Joe, who's coming on, and he's going to be talking about West Art District and the event on December 2nd. So we're going to have a couple of 15-minute little plugs there, but it's going to be fun. So I hope you'll tune in. That's at 2 and 2:30. So love you guys as always. Thank you so much. Happy Friday to you, Brittany. Thank you guys for tuning in who aren't a part of the show but are here because of Jason. Please friend me on Facebook.
These are all your friends, bro.
They're not. No, I see people on here. Maddie says, bravo, gents. Boom, baby. That's
Maddie T. That's
we love Maddie. Gotta love him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great thing going with Final Express.
We love you guys. Talk to you soon. Well, we think we love you.
Yeah.
We do love you. Now I know what to do. Ready?